Yeah, this is how I do.
The triangle's the better way to do it if you're just trying to write it without.
Well, I don't. There's different ways of. There's cursive, then there's regular handwriting, and then there's block letters. But honestly, the best way to do it is just do it like that. Just the staple, and then like, yeah, just like that. That's a good D. Gay.
Yeah, when I'm I need to actually like look up a proper way to write it not in cursive, because I think that the way that I've been writing is probably going to be illegible to most people who speak it and read it. But my English is also terrible in handwriting, so I could just be consistent.
Yeah, if you're interested in starting a Patreon, I've known people over the past couple years that have been like, hey, your Patreon is working. I will do one exactly like you did. And they start one and they get 0 patrons, and then they get all mad and upset like something's wrong. Just like I said in chat, when I started my Patreon, I had been making cartoons and funny videos on the internet for like 10 or 15 years. So a lot of people knew who I was, and they knew that I make cartoons, and they had seen all of the cartoons that I had been putting on the internet unmonetized for free for like 10 or 15 years. And the Hermit, yes. He's called Baltarashka because he's 1.5 meters tall. He's a sweetheart. But yeah. So when I started the Patreon, there was already, I had been trying to make a Star Fox cartoon for like 4 or 5 years at that point. And yeah, if someone in my family saw my Patreon and was like, oh, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And they've 0 internet presence. No one on the internet knows who they are at all. And they go on there and do like, I'm going to write a sci-fi book, or I'm going to make this cartoon. And all they post is, my name is this and I am doing thing. And they post like 1 or 2 pictures that they drew, and they're like, this is when I get the animation together, it's gonna blah blah blah, and then they end up getting 0 patrons. They get 0 patrons and they have no idea what they did wrong. And honestly, number 1, you have to have a clear message of what you're doing. Number 2, it definitely helps having a viewer base already. And number 3, you have to feed people a free, big, juicy piece of concept. Proof of concept. When I made my Patreon, let me find the video. Sure, was a race car driver. Where are we? Here we go. Patreon preview video. Oh, Jesus. This was February 11th, 2015. I can't believe I'm playing this. Guys, like almost 7 years ago. Actually, exactly almost 7. Even my Florida accent. Please excuse my like old Florida accent. I was like, "Hey, I'm making a Patreon. It's gonna be Star Fox, and you maybe know me from some of my videos." I stopped smoking. I stopped smoking, and my voice dropped. Like within a month. It's so weird. Yeah, let me load this video. I want to show you. This is the video that I uploaded. It is 3 minutes long and it contains animation examples. This is the video that I posted the day that I started my Patreon, to give you an idea.
Hi, I'm Matthew Gafford. Some of you might know me as Frederick Fox from the funny videos and flash cartoons and songs and stuff I did from the late 90s and early 2000s. I'm not going to bore you too much with my life story, so I'll keep this short.
Okay guys, open your wings, check your GDFs, get ready to roll.
Star Fox, the animated series, is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've actually been working on it for the past 4 or 5 years. It started off as, simple, goofy little one-off thing. Then it evolved into a semi-serious, semi-musical animation, and now I've just decided to keep it as traditional as I can, portraying the characters close to how they looked in the first 2 games.
Come on out, Wolf! We know you're here!
He knows we have guns. He's not gonna come out. Give the guy some credit. Jesus Christ.
Shut up.
Some of you have actually had the opportunity and admirable patience to watch this evolve from early 2010 up until present day, obviously taking a more serious direction the further along I got.
Who all's gonna be there? What? I said who is going to be there when we get there? Huh? God damn it, hold on. Okay.
I do most of the voice acting, all of the music, all of the animation, all of the writing, all of the storyboarding, pretty much 95% of everything I do myself. Over the past few years, I've gotten a lot better at all of that, and you'll be able to see the vast contrast in quality if you compare some of these older clips I've shared to the newer stuff I've just recently put together. In closing, I'd like to thank everyone in advance for the help, and I honestly can't wait to have more finished content to show everyone. I hope you enjoyed watching this little preview and that you'll stick around to see this little childhood dream of mine turn into a real thing.
Then I put the sound thing at the end.
Go ahead and call your little buddies and have them come pick
Fred,
you
you're so
up.
precious.
Hey, my communicator's fried. And I'm sure you'll find a way to fix it. You are the great Fox McCloud, after all. Hey, Wolf. Thanks, I think. Don't thank me, kiddo. I'm just saving you for later. If anyone's gonna tan your hide, it's gonna be me. And don't you fucking forget it.
Non-canonical link there. Ignore that URL. But yeah, that was my Patreon video. I had a bunch of examples of old animation and some of the new ones. I'm trying to find the actual example of the animation that I uploaded, but that's the Patreon preview video. Oh shit, I found it. 60-second demo reel. Is this it? Yep. And this was like a week or two later after I started the Patreon. I uploaded 1 minute and a few seconds of proof of concept. This is the video that I used as proof of concept for my Patreon. I busted my ass like 16 hours a day for 2 weeks when I was at that house, and I made a minute of animation, and some of it still hasn't been used, and some of it literally became the first scene in the episode. This is my 60-second demo reel for my Patreon the week after I opened it.
Hey, Leon, are you awake? No. Do you think I'm an asshole? Like in the grand scheme of things?
Wolf, go to sleep. We only have 3 hours until we leave.
We've got a security mission tomorrow where people could die, and you boys are in here playing video games. Hey, nobody's gonna die tomorrow.
Yeah, for once Fox is right, Peppy. I mean, it's just Fortuna's security detail, you know. Come on.
Hey, kiddo. You remember me? Your biggest fan.
Slightly modified title screen. But yeah, that was my concept video. It was 1 minute and 17 seconds of animation that I busted my ass and did in like 2 weeks. That was like the first things I animated, period, since I was like, I'm gonna get back on the horse and make a cartoon. That was the 60-second video that I was trying to find y'all the other night. But yeah, that's, if you're gonna make a Patreon and you want people to take your shit seriously, you have to wait until you have a video or a piece of something that you show some people that you know, and they're like, holy shit, you've got to make a Patreon for this. If you can't show that to anyone you know or any of your friends and have them genuinely go, wow, you're ready to do this, dude. And hopefully your friends would be able to tell you, like, dude, you have ADD really bad. I hope you can focus on this. I had a bunch of friends tell me that, and I was like, yep, no, trust me, I'm going to do it. I know how to do it. The only thing that keeps me from doing it already is having to work 16 hours a day as a pest control technician or at a gas station or something. It just wears you out. At that point, when I finally had the confidence where I could be like, I know for a fact, if the internet paid me to sit on my ass at home and I didn't have to go and work at a gas station, I could do this every day of my life and be happy, as long as I get like a couple $1,000s a month that I can, pay my rent and eat and have insurance and all that. I would do this for the rest of my life. And I've been doing it. But you have to be able to do that. You can't make a Patreon. See, I've seen a lot of people, they'll make a Patreon and it'll blow up for a minute, and then they just never update it, and that amount of money just goes from like $1,000 a month down to like $200 of just, passive patrons. And they don't update or upload anything to their Patreon or their YouTube or anything for years. But somehow they keep still getting that $100 or $200, just people wanting to support them. And yeah, don't let your Patreon stagnate. I don't update mine that much because I'm a streamer. I stream every day. If anyone wants to be like, hey, well, I want to see what he's working on, all you got to do is look me up on Twitch. And I'm on there. I have VODs recorded every time I stream showing you what I'm working on. You can kind of sum up exactly how long it's taken me to work. And even still, like every month or so, I go on Patreon. It's like, hey, I've got this much done, working on this next. Here's a free file of exactly how I put together my cartoon. You're free to use it however you want. I'll upload updates. Like all the files that I use, all this compositor for all of these scenes and everything, I put those on my Patreon for free. Anytime I learn something in Blender that I can use that makes my cartoon look better, my node structure, I will make a base copy of this file with all of my art and animation removed and put it up on the internet. And just be like, there's a few stills of the characters in there. This is exactly how I have my cartoon set up. All you've got to do is draw in those grease pencil objects, and it'll have the same quality render and processing that my cartoon does. I just give it to people. I don't fucking care. I'm not trying to get like, oh, but behind this tier you get the like. No, if you want to learn Blender, which is free, you can have those files and pick them apart. I don't care. I'm still learning myself, so I'm just trying to grab some hands and pull people along. But, oh yeah, I've accidentally banned a couple people before. What were you saying?
Oh, I think there's another sort of topic that a lot of people don't really talk about when starting a Patreon, or even just...
Yeah, please add. I'm trying to think of anything I can add, and I've run out of steam.
There's going to be long stretches where it's going to seem like no one knows who you are or cares. I think the biggest thrust that you have to get has to come from yourself, and you have to believe that what you are doing is worth your time and potentially other people's money. Like, even if that money's not coming in yet, keep fucking doing it. You know, like
you have to wait until the stuff that you make that is all your own and original is turning heads and making people go, wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
Or you have to do something that is relevant and current, that is popular, and then you win people in. And then once they're all like, oh yeah, that's the guy that did all of the popular stuff and all of the meme cartoons or meme songs or whatever. And then when you've got that fan base built up, be like, well, you all have seen all this stuff I've done. I'm going to go do my baby project now. You know, it's like everyone has a baby, like your precious, wonderful, original idea that you want to make into a big thing. Like, I have a lot of characters for mine, and I'm not even going to be able to start writing the first episode for a couple of years. I'm going to be doing that while I'm finishing up episode 3 of A Fox in Space. But you need to have an idea of what your whole project, if you're going to do the precious baby project first, you have to have an idea of what it's going to be. And it's going to be a lot more difficult. If I had started my Patreon for the violence, random cartoon with random furry characters that no one's ever really heard of, it never would have gotten off the ground. If I had done it for Five Nights at Freddy's, it would have been tripled in size before Scott came and whacked it down or hired me or something. I'm surprised the Star Fox version of it lasted as long as it did until it got changed. But if you're starting a Patreon and you like, I need to make like a flow chart. Like, do you have a fan base? How big is it? You don't have a fan base? All right, well, if you don't have a fan base, then you need a proof of concept video 100%. If you don't have a fan base, you can write the biggest, fanciest paragraph, essay, whatever you want to write, telling people what you're going to do if they give you money. But if people don't know who you are, you're going to have to give them something else. If people didn't really know who I was and I put up that big beefy proof of concept video, I still would have gotten some money. That still would have gotten thrown around in the Star Fox fandom and the circles of everything. Like, holy shit, this guy's doing this. We should, you know, it looks really good. Holy crap, or whatever. It might have happened. Like, there's a good chance of it. But if nobody knew who I was, and I didn't have a proof of concept video, and I just had this, oh, it's going to be a wonderful experience to share with my viewers, blah, blah. I could write this big, long thing and promise all this stuff. Oh, here's a couple pictures of some of the character concept. People don't want to see that. People don't want to see your slightly different version of Crystal with the cool guns that you know how to draw. If you're making an animated cartoon series, you need to upload a video of what your video and audio production skills can create. If I did not have that video and I still had my fan base, I still would have gotten money. Wouldn't have gotten as much. But because I've been making stuff for so many years, people are like, oh, no, I know this dude. He's made videos and I've seen his cartoons. This is something he's wanting to do. But that's only because people knew who I was from stupid videos and silly cartoons and Flash and stuff. But it paid off. It paid off. All of that stuff that I did non-monetized and for free, just for the hell of it, and put it all over the internet, garnered me a little bit of e-respect or whatever. So when I finally, 15 years later, was like, guys, I really need this. I gotta make a Star Fox cartoon, and if you want to support me, here it is. You've seen all my other stuff. Everybody jumped on it. It got up over $1,000 in the first day, and I got to not go into work at that gas station I was working at. It was very nice, but it wasn't just because I went online and saw someone else do it and was like, oh, okay, well, hey, everybody, I'm doing this thing. And you don't have any proof of concept. Like, even if you don't have a fan base, put a video up of your skills. Spend, donate, sacrifice, whatever verb you want to call it. Put up a month of your life creating a proof of concept, the best that you can make it look, and when you're done with it, ask yourself, is this ready for people who are thinking about giving me money? It's like an anonymous Shark Tank thing where you put a message on the internet, everyone on the internet looks at it, and they decide if they want to give you money or not. But number one above everything else when starting a Patreon is you have to have some proof of concept of what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't be all talk. And the other thing too, in your case, and certainly in my case as well, is, you know, finding success in your Patreon and like getting a fan base and things like that. But before it even got to that point, there was a shit ton of failure that you go through. You know, like some things that you work on aren't going to be as successful as you were hoping that they would be, or you wrap something up and you're like, well, this actually kind of looks like dog shit. You know, like there's just going to be a lot of...
People used to call me the guy that never finished anything. He would always say when I go to cons, like, I love your cartoons, but Fred, you got to finish one. I'm like, yeah, I know. I just, I keep moving around life, and and then finally got to the point where I was like, okay, I just turned 31. Now I'm 32. And now, I'm settled down. I don't give a shit about partying and stuff anymore. I want to make a cartoon. Because I had wanted to make a Patreon for like 2 or 3 years. Like right when it came out, I was like, oh my God, I could totally do that right now. But I'm in debt and I'm working 16 hours a day and I got to get rent. And this would take forever to build up money. And honestly, I was afraid that I didn't have the responsibility for it. And then one night I got a little wine drunk on Skype with some buddies. And they were like, dude, make the fucking Patreon. What could happen? You make the cartoon, and then if Nintendo shuts it down and you're not allowed to make it, And at that point, I was like, actually, then I could just recolor the characters and change their names. And I made an alternate palette set before I even posted the Patreon. Falco was a flamingo. Peppy was a gray rabbit. Slippy was an orange poison dart frog or something like that. Like, I just changed the palettes and their names, and all of their uniforms were brown instead of the different colors. Like, I made that like that day, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. F it. We'll do it live. And I did. I was like, all right. And it was one of the best things I could have done. Corpse Grinder 660 and company. And company shoes. Yeah. Gucci Man in the kitchen is eating all your cookies. Speaking of cookies for animation, thank you for the follow. But yeah, just back to the Patreon thing. Rex is exactly right. And when it comes to, writing up a good thing, like people have to be able to see what you've done. The main reason being there have been way too many people on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and such, and Patreon talking a great game and running with $100,000. So, like with my other video, I was like, hey, y'all know me for the past 10, 15 years. I've been doing all this stuff. I'm going to do this thing. I'd like to do it full time. Even like the main goal I was trying to get was $500 a month so I could go to part time at my gas station job. I was like, if I can get at least $1,000, I can barely scrape by not having a job and doing this. And yeah, like by the end of the month, it was like $1,500. I was moving out of a rented like bedroom. Yeah, I never thank people enough for that. I was literally scrubbing toilets in a gas station when I started putting the Patreon together.
I went through the same thing, Hammy. Like, I remember when I hit like 8,000 followers on Twitter, I had like a panic attack almost, and then it hit 25,000, and then I had to go to a convention and meet people. And my biggest worry was, having like a spotlight on me. Like, I don't really like it. Seems ironic. Like, I don't like having attention on myself yet. Here I am throwing out my stuff to get attention and to hopefully get people to.
Well, there's
like
different types of. There's different colors of social spotlight.
There is. There certainly is. But I started seeing a therapist and everything about it too, because I was so nervous about it. But once I got to FC, everyone who recognized me was extremely warm and sweet, and it really is what you put into it. Like if you're kind of a provocateur and you like stirring the pot and making people angry and getting attention for that, that's what you're gonna get in return. Like
absolutely. You're gonna get provoked.
Exactly. You're gonna get canceled. But if you're doing like what Fred's doing, like he's engaging, he's sharing his knowledge with Blender, he's actually getting his work done and that's why everyone in the chat here is like so awesome. Like but what Fred puts out is what he gets back.
Yeah, like anything that, like my sense of humor, political stuff, anything like that like I can read a crowd. If there's something like, even if I'm a little tipsy, I'm not gonna like go too far over line and hurt anyone's feelings with, an off-color joke or talking about political stuff or anything like that. Because I like hearing about other people's opinions, not debating them. Like if you voted for somebody else or you think a joke is funny that I don't or something like that, like I don't care. Like some people, they get really butthurt, like, oh wait, you don't think this is funny? Please, let me explain to you why it's funny. It's the same people that get upset when someone doesn't like the same food that they like, so they sit next to them and like try to explain it to them that it tastes good, in hopes that they'll be like, you know what? This is pretty good. So they can be like, yay, we're in agreement. Ha! Like, it's literally the same chemicals in your brain when someone disagrees with you on something or is upset with your provocation or the other way around and stuff like that. That's why I just keep that to myself and stress to people over and over again that if they have differences like that from me, I do not care. I do not care. I still want to be your friend and have a drink with you, and like, and we can even talk about like our different beliefs on that stuff. Like, I don't care. And back to what Rex was saying about like spotlights and stuff, the people that are more, you know, like, I'm gonna tell you all this and I don't care if you don't like it, too bad. Like the people with those kind of attitudes, those are the ones that become infamous on the internet rather than famous, because they end up liking that kind of spotlight. That is not a color of spotlight I like to be in, like controversy. I'm gonna get in some of it for sure with my cartoon series, but like I'm not going to be on Twitter addressing it. I'm not going to be on YouTube defending myself in the comment sections of someone's rise and fall video about me or something like that. Like it's not a real place. It's not an existing location on a planet. It's bits and bytes on the internet. I know that only means so much, but as far as something keeping me awake at night, or someone, like, I can't leave a message on anyone's video with like any video. I go to like a crafting channel and I just tell them this is the most heartwarming thing in the world, and there's someone that replies to it saying like, oh, you gay you like, get off of this, why don't you go get back and finish your episode, you you know. Like every single time, every video, no matter what I put on there. So I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? You know, I can ignore that. I'm just going to leave my comment and be like, hey, YouTuber, I like your video, you know, whatever, and check it later on to see if they reply, and they usually do. And then just never look at it again. I get on there and be like, well, why do you got to be mean? I'm just on here telling you, like, just, nah. Stay out of it. Like I shouldn't even be going and commenting on people like that. I like to put it there so people go, oh wow, a Fox in Space watches this channel. Cool. Well, he likes this cartoon. All right. I like doing that. I like, you know, just being like, hey, I like your stuff. I don't know if you know mine, but your cartoon's cool. And you know, there's always someone down there that's gonna try to get you to, or try to get a gotcha. You're like, I bet he saw this too. Like, just stay away from people like that. Especially if you have a following somewhere, like those million subscriber YouTube people. I don't know how they do it. I couldn't do it. Well, I think I've fixed my rim lighting problem finally. Like, the day I really stopped tweeting, other than the Night in the Woods thing, but the thing that led up to that being the straw that broke my back, I sat for about an hour doctoring a tweet. You know, like, no, don't put a period on the end because you look like an asshole. That's minus 10% tweet potential. Leave it in lowercase except for the first letter, and put, you know, throw a little bit of hip hop on the this and that. And, yeah, there really is. Like You know, you can't get on there and be like, I am so frustrated every time that this thing happens. You have to put it like, that face when that thing happened, and bruh, you be like, yo, emoji ... no punctuation or whatever. That if you write the same thing with the same picture punchline and all of that, but you perfectly punctuate everything, and it makes it sound more prissy, and then not as many people are going to share it. You have to do this certain amount of doctoring. So I had 3 sentences that went down to 1 sentence, back up to 2 sentences, down to a sentence, and then 2 words and an emoji at the end. And I sat there, I'm like, this is the most stupid shit that I could be spending my time on right now. And like, that's kind of when I just fell off of Twitter. Like, so I was sitting there like, I'm trying to think of a funny tweet that people go, oh, that's clever. Like. And I spent like 2 or 3 hours, and then I just decided not to send it. There's another one like weeks before that I sent. It was like a Sonic the Hedgehog cash register something. I can't remember. It was something about like cash registers. Yeah, it was a thing. Cash registers getting mad at Sonic the Hedgehog for ripping off their noise for level complete sound. So they ripped off Sonic the Hedgehog for his ring sound, you know, at the racetrack gas stations. Everybody's been in that gas station where they ring up your items and it makes the Sonic ring sound effect. I don't know, it was this really funny thing that I thought of, and I posted it, and it got like 2 likes, and I was just like, I deleted it. I was like, why am I?
What do you know?
Yeah, I was just like, I was just trying to think like, well, maybe if I wrote it like this, I capitalized everything and punctuate and like all this stuff, and yeah, it's just spending too much time trying to appease random people and get that big digit number at the bottom right of your post, the affirmation. And I just got tired of it. I was just like, nah. And then all that shit happened with that dude that killed himself, and all those people started attacking his family and all this shit. And that's when I just deleted my Twitter. And I was just like, nah, this is madness. Twitter's cool some of the time. I don't care about other people using it, but like for me, like I just can't. I don't know. It got to where every time I got on there, it was just negative energy. It's like every single time that I go and track my comment activity on YouTube, I'll go and check all the other little animation channels and big production channels on YouTube that I left a comment and look up my comment to see if they replied back. And yeah, like on every single one, it's just like really, really mean troll shitheads. Just be like, hey, you gay why don't you fix your cartoon and quit looking at YouTube videos? You know, it's just like, yeah, like I'm good. I don't want that negative energy in my life.
I'm so glad I could finally let that out.
Sorry, I had to break this out.
That's not all you broke.
Nice. Oh, wind, because it fart break. I really need that Price is Right theme on here. Just on off toggle.